9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3 and a half, 2, 1 3/4. Yes!
Certainty of death, small chance of success. What are we waiting for?
Fellas, I feel this is my lucky day.
Brilliant.
Hey, and welcome to another episode of Rankum. It's going to be a very fun one today. We're talking about top 12 movie quotes from the Wizarding World franchise. And over here we've got Kevin. Kevin, how's it going?
It's going, man. I'm very happy to be here and to have won the bracket challenge. Got to pick this category. It was very I went through like a million categories in my mind. This is what I came up with. So I hope everybody enjoys it. So everybody have a good time.
But also we've got Chad. Chad, how's it going?
Hey, it's going great. When Kevin told me that he was going to be doing this, I thought it was so exciting. Every time I get to talk Harry Potter, I just get really, really stoked. So very excited to be here. Excited to be talking some Potter with you guys.
And we've also got Jen here. Jen, how's it going?
Doing good. I'm really excited to be here. Like, this is a category that I think a lot of people are excited about, honestly. So I don't think there's going to be any lack of fans around. But yeah, it's been a while since I've seen these movies. So this was a nice little trip down memory lane. I'm surprised it hasn't happened before because it's just a really natural, easy category because there's too many quotes. You could pick one movie and we'd be fighting. So I'm excited.
But yeah, how this is going to work is we're going to go around the horn and bring up a quote that we think belongs on the top 12 lists, and then everyone else will say so no to it. Because there is only 4 people on the panel, the person nominating won't count in the final tally. It's come down to the other 3 if it makes the list. And with that being said, I'm going to start with Kevin. Kevin, what is the first quote you're going to bring up?
All right. I feel like I have to bring up from Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, Hagrid's famous quote, "You're a wizard, Harry." This one is just, it's one that's, it's become a meme, but it is definitely at the heart of the Harry Potter franchise and is one of the most quotable quotes that you'll find amongst the wizarding world. So you're a wizard, Harry.
Chad, what do you say about your wizard, Harry?
You have to have this quote on the list. I mean, you know, as soon as he says this, the entire franchise begins. It's like this is the drop that he gives to Harry, and it's like, no, you're special. This is, you know, you're going to be something. And you know, I have just a short story. When I was getting fitted for suits for my friend's wedding, I went up to him and I went, "You're a wizard, James." And he did not miss a beat. He just went, "Me, James? But I can't be. I'm just James, or a wizard." And yeah, so I love to quote this one all the time, and Kevin's dead on. Absolutely.
And Jen, what do you say about your wizard, Harry?
Yeah, I think this is a natural pick. I wouldn't be a real Harry Potter fan if I tried to veto it because, yeah, this is something that I think every single fan of the franchise, you hope that one day Hagrid's going to burst in and tell you you're a wizard, and that would just make me cry. So, yeah, I think we automatically have to let this one in. It's a great kickstart to the list. So, yeah, I think it's a great pick to start off with.
Yeah, this was an easy yes for me as well. This is pretty much a classic line. And as Andrea said, that it is a classic. It's one that back in the day when I had my hair longer than what it is now and full grey beard, I was called Hagrid at one point.
You make a great Hagrid.
But with that being said, Harry's the first quote to make this list. Chad, what is your next quote?
Okay, this may be a pattern going on, and it may continue like this. I think I know a movie that Jen might be doing later at some point, probably. I'm going to continue with this Sorcerer's Philosopher's Stone, whatever you want to call it, and I'm going to go to the very end of the movie. Kevin with the beginning. I'm going to go to the end, and I'm going to go with I'm not going home, not really. This line for me is just like seriously like one of the best lines, and it actually for me makes the movie a little bit better than the book in a way, because the book kind of fizzles out with the ending, and I'm like, I don't need all this like extra stuff. And then with that, it just kind of shows just what the movie meant. It's Harry finding a place to, be himself, to, be who he truly is, and just feel like he has a home. And he expresses that with that line, and it's just a brilliantly written line, and it shows why we need somebody like Steve Kloves to come back and actually write the Fantastic Beasts movies and stuff like that, because when you have a solid screenplay, solid dialogue, you can make an extremely fantastic movie that you'll just want to return to, like the first movie, all the time. So yeah, I'm not going home, not really. Gets me every time in the feels.
Jen, what do you say about I'm not going home, not really?
Oh yeah, this one, as soon as I read it, like I pulled up a wall of quotes, and this one I was like, this is one that got me like, oh, because yeah, it's just a perfect way to end that first movie, and it really is. It does feel like the beginning of something special in terms of the movie franchises, because it's like, yes, this is very clearly this is something that's going to work. And you just like Harry, you can't wait to go back and visit this world and see it expand and become so creative and a little darker and just grow with these kids. So yeah, this is it's another natural pick. It's hard because there's a lot that are natural picks, so we have to eventually say no. But I can't say no to this one. So
yeah, this is one that I am actually going to say no to. I mean, I like this quote. While it is fitting for Harry in the movies, it's just one of those ones that could be in any movie. It's not one that's wholly unique to the Wizarding World, but there's still one person left to go, so it could make the list. Kevin, what do you say about I'm not going home, not really?
I am gonna say yes to this quote because of I like what Chad said about it and what Jen said about it. How it kind of kicks off the franchise and gives it a good ending to the first film, a good start to the rest of the franchise. But also, if you watch the HBO special with Chris Columbus, he talks about this. This was actually the first scene filmed. And he saw in Daniel Radcliffe like how well he could act, and like he said he went home and was just like amazed at how well he did with this role. Like he could just feel it in his heart, that this was the right kid. So that is the main reason I'm going to say yes for this one.
Yep. But with that, Jen, we go to you. What is the quote?
Oh God. Okay. Like. Which way do I want to go? Because we've already done two very heartfelt ones, I'm going to do one that's just a sassy little bitch. So I'm going to kick it over to Draco Malfoy from Chamber of Secrets, of one of the great ad-libs of the entire franchise for when Harry happens to be wearing his glasses because he doesn't remember and switches, and Draco goes, the explanation is, why are you wearing glasses? Oh, I was reading. And Draco's line is, reading? I didn't know you could read. That is just an excellent choice to be made by Tom Felton, who at the time was maybe 13, maybe. So that is just an excellent line reading, which is technically not a line reading because he just made it up. So I love it when that kind of stuff happens in films, and Tom Felton is just the perfect little Draco. So I want to throw it over to him. Now that we've been so touchy-feely, I want to be a little sassy. So.
Yeah, this is one that I'm going to say yes to. This is like I just recently rewatched Chamber of Secrets. And this line just gets me all the time. It's just one of those ones that I actually didn't know was ad-libbed until Ken mentioned it. And
he's that good early on. Like he's locked into this role. He knows his character. It's great.
And so I am going to say yes to this. Kevin, what do you say about reading? I didn't know you could read.
Yes, absolutely. This is a great line. The snappiness of how Tom gives this line, and people say he doesn't come into his own until later on in the Half-Blood Prince. I say he comes into his own far earlier. Yeah, he's fantastic. So I definitely say yes to this one.
And Chad, what would you have said about reading? I didn't know you could read.
Yeah, this line is amazing. I love this movie. I love Tom Felton so much. I love him like a lot like later in the series, but even early on, like you're saying, he's just brilliantly like this weird little kind of asshole kid. But I just like love Tom Felton just like in real life. Like he keeps doing a bunch of Harry Potter stuff all the time. And so it just like because he's such a cool guy in real life, it just makes me love the character Draco so much more. But yeah, the line in the movie is hilarious on its own. But then, and just like because he said, "No, you could read," and then he does the like thinks about it for a second.
Fascinating.
It's brilliant. But then when you do find out that he ad libbed that, you're just like that's just the best thing I've ever heard ever. So yeah, this line is really makes that entire section of the movie, I think, really just a lot of his like little lines in there, like when he steals that little package, like, is this yours?
Yeah.
Steal it. Stuff like that. So it's just he's brilliant in that movie. So yeah, definitely.
But yeah, and it's on to me. And for my first quote, I'm going to bring up there's another bit of a sassy line, in a way. But I'm going all the way to Deathly Hallows, part 1, in which Red Bellatrix tries to murder a certain character. Just the response: Dobby did not mean to kill anyone. Dobby only meant to maim or seriously injure. Look, this is a line I did not expect to hear Dobby say, and this is something I did not expect. And this is just one that really works so well. I think it works a lot more in the movie because it's a really action hero type of line. And it's just so great. I think it belongs on this list. Kevin, what do you say about Dobby not mean to kill you?
Oh, it's perfect. I mean, given by Toby Jones, Dobby is just it's perfectly timed, perfectly spoken. The word choice is perfect. This really couldn't have been written any better. I love it, and I love how it makes Dobby out to be. He's just he's just a loving little creature, but he he still is going to protect Harry at all costs. So yeah, I definitely say yes to this one.
Chad, what do you say about Dobby not mean to kill anyone?
Absolutely yes. I have this on my list. This is one I could not pass up. I probably would have brought this up too after Jen said she's about to get really snappy up in here. So I was like, I'll mention that, but Malcolm beat me to it. Yeah, like Dobby's kind of like missing for a lot of the series, which is really sad. But when he comes back, you really love it because you remember that character, you love that character, and he pops back up and he does this hero thing. And you really need in those dark movies a clap back like this so much. And so that line like really gets you, and it's like right before his tragic death too. So it's just like holds so much weight to it, I think. So this one is definitely one to be remembered. So yes, for sure.
And Jen, what do you say about Dobby not meant to kill anyone?
Yes, I definitely have a type, and this was on my list. Yeah, like Dobby is a fantastic character, and I think to this day, like people are still like not making the connection of it's Toby Jones, like because you get lost in the role for him. Like it's a very different kind of thing than what you usually see. So it's always like makes me happy when people start to realize like, oh, he did that too. Like it's fantastic. So yeah, and this is just a nice hero moment for Dobby in a otherwise kind of darker film. So it is a nice little touch there. And then they just swing right back and hit you on all the feels. So it's a nice little moment of triumph before one of the biggest losses in the franchise. So yeah, it's a big moment. I love it. It's great to see the little guy stand up for himself. So yeah.
Yeah. But Kevin, we go back to you.
All right, everybody's done a couple of snappy lines. I'm going to go back to the sappy
Back to
line
the
and go to my favorite movie, The Prisoner of Azkaban. Sirius Black says, "The ones that love us never really leave us, and you can always find us, or always find them in here." That is one of my favorite quotes in all of the Wizarding world. And I think it belongs on the top 12 list for sure.
Chad has stepped away from. There is.
He-
What are you talking about?
He apparated
Chad-
back into screen. He's good.
Chad, what do you say about the quote? The ones that love us never really leave us, and you can always find them in here.
All right, so this one I'm gonna have to probably say no to, just because I feel like we're gonna need to start saying no to certain ones that don't exactly click. And the only reason why I'm saying no, because it's a great line. I'm glad that Kevin brought it up, because all of these lines are important to somebody for sure. This one, for some reason, it doesn't click with me as much as other serious lines. There's two I can think of in particular, and one's on my list. So I'm going to say no to this one, but I will not be mad if you guys say yes.
Jen, what do you say about this quote from Sirius?
I'm glad you won't be mad, because I'm going to say yes. Like, this is one of the more serious ones that I do enjoy. There are some that are a little over the top, but this one, coming from Sirius to Harry, it is a big moment for him, because that is essentially what Harry has been dealing with his entire life in a nutshell, of people saying like, oh, you remind me of your parents and everything. So it's nice to have that support finally of someone who knew his parents and understands what it's like to have lost that, because he is going through a very similar situation. So this is a big building moment for Harry as a person, and then it goes a little south with Sirius going forward. So yeah, it's one of it's a good foundational moment for Harry in terms of his ethos and everything, and then it starts to change from there. So I think it's very important for his character development, so I will say yes. And it's a good quote as well, because I think everyone has felt this at some point. So yeah, it's very universal.
Yeah, I'm going to. I'm actually going to say yes to this too, because I think this is one of those quotes that a lot of people apply. You can apply in real life too. There's a lot of these quotes that really represents what's happening in real life, and ones that you may see people use on the news. Going, if you thinking about this, remember this quote. So. But this is one of those ones. So yeah, so yes to this one. Chad, we go to you for your next quote.
Okay, so I'm gonna go with another very deep one, and this one is one that always gives me freaking goosebumps. Just this whole scene does. It's the scene at the very end of Order of the Phoenix when Harry gets possessed by Voldemort, and he's fighting him and stuff like that, and he's trying to whatever, but then he has this like realization after being like totally possessed by Voldemort, that Voldemort's like a sad guy. He's just a sad dude that just like never had anybody, and he's just acting out basically. It's just a toddler, basically, and he says, "You're the weak one, and you'll never know love or friendship, and I feel sorry for you." And I think this is like this is like the turn for Harry, where he realizes that he can beat Voldemort. And then he, kind of like solidifies it later with another great line, saying that he doesn't have anything to fight for like we do. And I think that's the realization he has to know he can beat Voldemort, and he needs to stick by his friends and have his friends stick by him. And I just think that's one of the biggest, best messages of the entire franchise. So I love this one.
Jen, what do you say about this quote?
Oh my God, like it is on my list. However, I feel like we're going too fast, so I'm going to say no. But at the same time, I'm going to say it's great because it is fantastic. It is one of those. The only reason is because I feel like it does need that lead into it and everything. It's more of a dialogue, so I'm going to do the technicality of that. But at the same time, it's like it is one of those power of love kind of moments, which always in the back of my mind, I'm like, oh, that's a little cheesy, but it is what it is. And especially like for the delivery of that line, like it is a little bit like sappy in the terms of it, but it makes sense in terms of Harry and his age and how he's feeling at that moment. So it is a good encapsulation of Harry's thought processes at that time. But as a quote overall, it doesn't stand out as much to me as others do. And because we're going too fast, I'm going to say no. But I wouldn't care if it's still on the list because it's still great.
Halt the brakes, says Jen.
This is one I'm also going to say no to, just for the fact that, well, it does need like the other characters saying that quotes sort of on either side of that, and also like while I do like this quote, it just gets lost to me in a lot of the other quotes, and just is not one of the first ones I think of when I think about, especially when it comes to like Dumbledore Harry quotes and stuff like that. But Kevin, what would you have said about this quote?
I also would have, unfortunately, had to go with no, just simply for the reasons you guys have said. Just it's a little bulky. When I think of a quote, I think of just something kind of concise, either that you could just say and not even have to necessarily know the movie, or you could you know the movie and you could just say it very quickly. But it is a very good quote, like you said. I'm glad you brought it up.
But with that, Jen, what is your next quote?
All right, so yeah, I'm gonna help pad the runtime and pick one that I don't think will get picked up, but I want to say it because as soon as I remembered, I was like, I fucking love this moment. So this is from Prisoner of Azkaban, one of the lesser teachers of the Hogwarts staff who doesn't get a great rap throughout it, but happens to completely peg one of Hogwarts all-star students, Hermione, and that would be Professor Trelawney saying, "You may be young in years, but the heart that beats beneath your bosom is as shriveled as an old maid's. Your soul is dry as the pages of the books to which you so desperately cleave." Have I said something? That is one of my favorite moments because it's essentially Emma Thompson just selling the very small bit part that she's been given in this grand franchise of fantastic British actors and actresses. So it's a personal favorite of mine, but I fully expect it to be not on the list, but I had to bring it up.
Well, I do like this this quote, and it's really a lot of fun. And I am going to say no to it because it's just, once again, like,
it's very long. So.
Well, yeah, I don't want to. I don't want to have to write all that in the back.
Yes, I did try to type that all in the. I'll copy paste it for you if you need to.
But it's just one of those ones, like, when it comes to Professor Trelawney quotes, this is not the first one I go to. One of them may actually come up a little bit later for me. But yeah, Kevin, what do you say about this quote?
I am gonna give this one a slight no. I'm tempted to give it a yes just because of the way she gives the quote.
It's the delivery.
Well, yes, it's all in the delivery. I agree with you. It is a great quote. It's funny in its own way. But I don't know that it belongs on a top 12 list. I'm trying to think big picture. So yeah. I'm just going to give it just a no, just slightly though. But props on for that one.
Chad, what do you say about this quote?
Yeah, if it came down to me, I probably would have said no, but it doesn't matter. So I'll say yes, right? No, but like Emma Thompson is epic in these movies as Trelawney. I love just how crazy she is, and she just like really nailed that part. I love how much she pisses off Hermione, and it's like the only teacher to ever do that.
Yeah, she's the only one to ever really challenge Hermione on her bullshit. So yeah, I really appreciate that.
Yeah. So yeah, I love pretty much everything about her. Yeah, I mean, it's just not one that I specifically remember all the time, but I love so much that it's so special to Jen because it's really funny, and everything about Trelawney's great. So yeah.
But yeah, for my next quote, I'm going to go for my favorite Albus Dumbledore quote from Goblet of Fire.
It's a conspiracy theory.
I protest.
Harry!
I protest.
Harry, you put your name in a goblet of fire.
No, sir.
You asked one of the oldest students to do it for you?
No, sir.
and it is not that one.
It's all one word.
No, in all seriousness, the quote I'm going to go for is yeah.
That's what it says in the books.
Yeah. But the quote I'm going to go for the Goblet of Fire from Albus Dumbledore is, though we may come from different countries and speak in different tongues, our heart speech is one. And this is one that, especially now with what's happening over in Europe and Ukraine and all that, this is definitely one that speaks to me at the moment. It's definitely one that you could definitely apply and bring up, because this is just one that is really important in these days, especially with what happened with Black Lives Matter movement and all that kind of stuff. Like this one just says, like, look, the whole world is the same. Doesn't really matter what race you are, what color your skin is. Everyone is the same. Like, no one is different. Like, but Kevin, what do you say about this quote?
Yeah, no, I think this one. I think I'd be a little bit of a hypocrite if I said no, because of what I said a little ago. But yes, I say yes 100% because this is a beautiful quote, and it would fit in any film, but this film in particular because it's a good film for the reasons like you said, bringing countries together, but also in the big picture of things, it's showing the youth of today that that countries can come together, and all hearts can be as one in the world. So with everything that's going on, not to be political or anything, but we can all just get together, be together, and think on the same page. So I'll give this one a yes.
Chad, what do you say about this quote?
Yeah, that was a lot of beautiful stuff you said there, Malcolm. And the reason why is because it's a beautiful quote. And it comes from a good movie that, everything Kevin said too about the movie and its inclusion in the movie just really fits, because it's like an Olympics type of thing, different countries coming together. And, we really are kind of all the same. And, when people can't realize that, it's really sad. And, so anyways, there's a lot of great Dumbledore quotes. This wasn't on my list, but I seriously thought about including it. But there's just so many of them, but I'm still going to say yes, because it's brilliant.
And Jen, what would you say about this quote?
Oh, good. I get to say yes. I was like, oh, do I have to be a heavy and try to say no? Like, no, I can just say yes. This is fantastic. Yeah, because as it's been said, like Dumbledore, every time he opens his mouth, another gem comes out. So yeah, it didn't make my personal top list of Dumbledore, but it's definitely in there. And yeah, like as has been said, it's a great universal message and everything. And particularly just in terms of the book series as a whole, of anyone can sit down and read this book. It doesn't matter what background you're coming from, and you can have a magical time and everyone be joined in union of just enjoying this kind of message. So yeah, I think it's a great message overall. Like every once in a while, J.K. Rowling stumbles upon something great. She said some horrible things since then, but she started with great intentions, and I think the fandom has lifted those intentions up instead of having them fall to the wayside. So yeah, I think it's fantastic. I love that this is on this list, especially in these trying times. So yeah.
And let's be fair, we could probably make a whole top 12 list of Dumbledore quotes alone.
Yeah, that's a whole show right there. Yeah.
Kevin, what's the next quote you're going to bring up?
The next quote I'm going to bring up is actually from the same film. I'm going to come from Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. It is from a different scene, obviously. It is from Professor McGonagall. She is talking about the House of Godric Gryffindor. She says, "I will not have you, in the course of a single evening, besmirching that name by behaving like a babbling, bubbling band of baboons." So I present you with that amazing quote by one Dame Maggie Smith.
Chad, what do you say about this quote?
I mean, if we're gonna have a McGonagall quote on here, I didn't think of that one, but every single time I watch that movie and hear that quote, it's hilarious and I love it. And she says it, so she's just really funny when she says that line. And it's a lot of alliteration there, and she does it perfectly. So I'm gonna say yeah to that, because I feel like we have to have a good McGonagall one on here, and that's one of her best.
Jen, what do you say about?
Oh man, this is in contention. It is on my long list, but I'm gonna say no and make Malcolm have to do the work. So yeah, like I do love this quote. Like Maggie Smith, she has some great lines in the film. Like she was a perfect McGonagall through and through. And yeah, like this is a difficult line to say, just in period, like for an actress. So, and then it has the great follow up of it's a Fred and George moment as well. So it's fantastic. And it's a funny scene, but like, is it top 12 material? I don't know. So I'm gonna say no and let Malcolm decide.
Yeah, this is a really good quote, and just hearing like Dave Maggie Smith with a whole bunch of alliterations, because it makes you wonder how many takes it took her to get it exactly right, or if she really did just stumble on this, like, and the director's like, great.
Nailed it.
Don't need to redo it.
I'd love to hear that.
But I am going to give it a slight yes. So that is going to make this list. And Chad, was your next quote?
I'm between two, and they're both Snape quotes, and they're both from the same movie. And I'm between two. And I'm going to go with the one that I love more. They both give me goosebumps, but I think the one that gives me more goosebumps is, when he says, "Look at me. You have your mother's eyes." Harry's been hearing that throughout the entire franchise, and he's like, "I know, I have my mother's eyes. I get it." But when Alan Rickman, the late great Alan Rickman, says it to him, there's so much weight into that, because he's been waiting this whole franchise, this whole life, to say something like that, because he lost something he loved dearly. And yeah, the other one is also very great, very, very short. And if that makes it instead of this one, that's perfectly fine. But I went with this one because it just, every single time, just like that moment when he's like, "Look at me," and then he just like looks for a second that says, "You have your mother's eyes." I cry every single time. And it's just, you can't not. Even just watching a clip of him doing it, not just the entire movie, is just enough to, because it's done so well. And there's so much weight in it. And I just love that movie so much. That quote.
So you're going for "You have your mother's eyes"? Is that the one you're going with?
Yeah, it's like, "Look at me. You have your mother's eyes." But you could just say, "You have your mother's
Yeah,
eyes."
it's specifically the Alan Rickman delivery one. Yeah.
The
important one.
Jen, what do you say about it?
Oh, I'm going to go Slytherin here, and I'm going to be evil and say no, unfortunately, even though I love everything you said about this. I love everything you said, because, yeah, it definitely, this is the time that it really hits home, particularly for Harry. It's a very big epiphany moment for him. But and this is going to be a technicality, like that's where I am now, just because we're going so fast. So this is a technicality because this is kind of like the Star Wars, like, I got a bad feeling about this kind of line of the franchise. So it's like everyone kind of had a chance to say it at some point. But this is the one that matters the most, to be fair. But yeah, I'm going to unfortunately say no, even though it hurts. It hurts me to say no to an Alan Rickman line. So there are others. So hopefully others will make it. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, once again, it hurts me to have to say no to this as well, but for the same reason as Jen, pretty much. Like, this is one of those ones that appears throughout the series. Like, I think Lupin says it at one point.
Yep. And Harry very much brushes that one off. He's like, yeah.
But yeah, I hate to do it, but I have to say no to this as well. Kevin, what would you have said?
Since you guys said no, I would have said yes.
There you go.
No, I probably would have said no to that one, because I think there are better Snape quotes. I agree with you guys.
Not vibing with you guys today.
Jen, we go back to you.
Great quote, though. That is an awesome one. And
It is great, and I loved your explanation for it. Was beautiful.
just-
So yeah.
I don't think it's
All
his
right.
best.
I mean, I'm like, should I be helpful and hit the other side that you were doing, because I totally want that on the list, but I'm not gonna do it yet. So I assume it's gonna happen at some point. But I've only done silly ones so far, so I'm gonna switch gears and do one that is a personal favorite of mine. I think this encapsulates like the entire franchise as a whole in a nutshell, and it makes sense because it comes from the very last film, from the wisest of all wizards is Dumbledore, and it would be when we have the scene in King's Cross of course it is happening inside your head, Harry, but why on earth should that mean that it's not real? Like, that's what you want to hear as any type of fiction fan, whether it be movie, book, whatever you want to be. Like, when you get caught up in a franchise and it means something to you, as long as it means something to you and it speaks to you, it does not matter whether it's real or not. So I think that is a beautiful speaking directly from the author of, I appreciate all the love that has come from my creation, and it's one of those things of you put it out in the world and it becomes like a life of its own. So I absolutely love this quote. It'll hurt me if it doesn't make the list, but it's the only serious one I'm going to put up there, I think, probably. But yeah, there you
go. What was the quote again? Sorry.
The quote itself is, "Of course it is happening inside your head, Harry, but why on earth should that mean that it is not real?"
Yeah.
Because it's when Harry's dead.
Yeah. I actually had this one. I think I had this on somewhere. And I think I thought I put it down on my shortlist, but I didn't. But this is a good line. And I'm going to say yes to it. Kevin, what do you say about? Of course, it's happening inside your head.
Yes, this is one that I had on my shortlist as well. I like it because it does reach out to you, and it breaks that fourth wall almost to say, even though it's happening in your head, could it really be happening, kind of thing. So I like those kind of things. So yeah, I like when it could be speaking to you as the viewer or reader or whatever we're talking about here. But yes, I like that. I like this quote, and I'm going to say yes.
And with that, it makes list. Chad, what would you have said?
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know if it got to me to decide. I'm not sure if I would have said yes or no, because I'm on the fence with that one, because there is another one, I think, in the same exact scene that I like even more, but just slightly more. So I probably would have just said yes. At some, it would have been on me, but yeah, I'm not sure. But yeah, it's a brilliant line. I love it. And for everything everybody says about it, yeah.
But yeah, of course, it's happening inside your head does make this list, and it comes back round to me. And I'm going to go for one. Yeah, it's tough. I'm going to go for a Hermione quote.
Yes.
Just because she has a lot of great lines, but one in particular is this one.
You foul, loathsome, evil little cockroach!
Just because this is just one of those ones which I did really expect to hear from Hermione, and I think Emma Watson just makes it even more great. This is just one of those ones that is a lot of fun, and especially just shows the anger of Hermione when, like, she finds out something and then it's just like, well, I'm gonna go punch this person in the face with
wizard punch.
Yeah. But yeah, Kevin, what do you say about that quote from Hermione?
I love this delivery. I love them putting this in the movie, where it's really like the coming of age of these children, where they're coming to the point of where the hormones are racing, and fights are happening at school. This is what's really happening in schools. So why not put it in the wizarding school? So it makes sense. And calling somebody names, even though it may not be a foul, loathsome, evil little cockroach. I love how they strung that together. That's great. So I have to give this one a big yes.
Chad, what do you say about this quote?
Hey, yeah. From a majority of these movies, not all of them, but for majority, Draco is all of those things. She got it right on, and she delivered it perfectly, like you guys said. I love a lot of Hermione quotes. I love Hermione just in general. Emma Watson, definitely. Most of the quotes I love from her are from Sorcerer's Stone, though. But I also love this one and a lot of other quotes from her. Even just her being like, "Is that really what my hair looks like from the back?" Just like a lot of like random shit like that she says. That's just great. But yeah, I would say yes to this for sure because it's fire and yeah, it's a great moment.
And Jen, what would you have said?
I mean, it's already through, so I get to say yes. Woo! So yeah, like I really like every once in a while someone unloads in Harry Potter and like they always come up with an interesting insult. Like I particularly love this one. Like she was like, how many different synonyms can I get in there? And like just really unload. Like there's this one and it won't come up later, so I'll say it now. But particularly, I absolutely love when Snape says, "Your father was a swine." Like I absolutely love that. It is such a tame insult. But the delivery, and it's the same situation here, of the delivery makes what is essentially a very like childlike insult become like so much more. So like I really enjoy this. It's fantastic. And I like it even has the follow-up of that felt good. Like that's a great moment for Hermione. It's very much like she is like letting loose and like that's her movie, really. That's when she really becomes Hermione Granger. And that like, yeah, so Emma Watson is fantastic, and it's just fantastic to see. Like, if you haven't watched the reunion thing yet, go and watch it because it's so good. And just particularly the dynamic between her and Tom Felton, like clearly they are like soulmates, best friends. I ship it. So yeah, like to see that like play out, it's fantastic. So yeah, I'm gonna say yes. It's great. I'm glad this is on the list.
Just like also when like he goes to grab the time turner and she slaps his hand.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
But we've got 9 on the list so far. We've got 3 more spots left, and Kevin, we go back to you.
All right. I am going to pitch a wild card here since there are only 3 spots left. Yeah, I know. That's what I said. But I'm going to go to the Fantastic Beasts films, to the Crimes of Grindelwald. Lita Lestrange. Okay. Yeah, no. Lita Lestrange says to Newt, "Oh, Newt, you've never met a monster you couldn't love." And I think this is a very impactful quote, like especially in this film. She means this literally and figuratively. And I think that's going very deep for what kind of film this is. So, I think this is a very good quote, and it's one of those that can also mean something to somebody outside just the wizarding world as well. So I'm going to pitch this one. I don't know what you guys think of it, but we'll see.
So what was the quote, Kevin?
You've never met a monster you couldn't love.
Chad, what did you say about you never met a monster you couldn't love?
Yeah, I mean, I think the Fantastic Beasts films are underrated, actually. I don't love them, but I like them. I even have fun with Crimes. I'm glad Kevin threw in one from Crimes because I think it deserves at least a mention. There's a lot of great quotes still in that franchise, and I'm very excited for the third one. This is the part of Rankum where everybody starts to get really picky. And I'm going to be picky here and say no, but that was one I did not remember. And it is definitely a great quote. And I love that relationship between him and Lita in that movie. And, Newt's just such a sweet character. Anyways, all right. I said no.
Jen, what do you say about you've never met a monster you couldn't love?
Yeah, like when Malcolm first pitched this, he was like, "Oh, it's Harry Potter quotes," and then I later saw his Wizard Manual. I was like, "Oh God, I got to think about Fantastic Beasts," and I was like, "I don't even have the brain pan. Like, I don't have the brain spans to do it." So I'm glad someone did the work for me because there are some nice quotes in there. But yeah, Crimes of Grindelwald, that is a rough movie for me. I am not particularly looking forward to the next one. I'll be there because I'm a Harry Potter fan, but I'm not like getting all dressed up and going to the midnight showing. So those days have passed. But yeah, this quote, it's very good for Newt. It is a nice encapsulation of his character. He's a sweetheart. But yeah, I'll just do the technicality of Lita Lestrange killed a baby, so I'm gonna say no.
Yeah, unfortunately, this is one I would have said no to as well. I mean, I'm one of those ones that I actually do like the first Fantastic Beasts movie. I do think that's pretty underrated, and I actually don't hate Crimes of Grindelwald. I'm going to see the third one tomorrow. But from what I've heard, is the third one's actually pretty good. Because
it can't be worse than Grindelwald. So yeah, I'm excited to see Mads. I'm excited.
Well, a lot of people say it's more because Steve Clove is helping write up with the script and that. So I think they're saying that's really improved it a lot. So I can't wait to see it myself and judge it for myself. But I also
just to back up to give it a little more credit because I brushed it off really quickly. But it is a great line for Lita because it is a very introspective line of you never met a monster you couldn't love and everything. And she's speaking about herself at that moment because she views herself as a monster because she killed a baby. So yeah, so it is like it's a layered thing. I appreciate the quote, but yeah, no.
But with that, we move over to Chad. Chad, what is your next nomination?
Oh, yeah, this is definitely tough. I was scrolling through, like, what do I say next? I got two that I was going to do. So, I mean, I am a big fan of trying to represent, like, a lot of different characters because I didn't want the entire list just to be Dumbledore because I know he's got a lot and Hermione's got a lot. There's a lot of characters with a lot of great quotes. But I wanted to throw in another one, and let me find where the hell was it. Hold on, sorry. Yeah, found it. It's one of the greatest characters in Harry Potter. It's I wanted to do a Luna Lovegood quote because she's.
Yes!
Oh my God!
Sorry, I was gonna do that.
I'm pretty sure we got the same one. Yeah.
All right. Then I did the same one. Hopefully I don't disappoint you, Kevin. Jesus. All right.
I know, right? Sorry.
Anyways, so Luna, I love just her performance in this. Just like how, kind of airy and space she acts the whole time, but it's just like she doesn't take anything serious. She doesn't get mad when people do things to her and against her and stuff like that. And she just kind of doesn't take things seriously. And I think that's a really great kind of a semi role model for Harry to be like, don't take things so damn seriously all the time. And, but one thing that she said was things we lose have a way of coming back to us in the end, if not always in the way we expect. Okay. I don't know. I think it's a great line. I believe at the end of Order of the Phoenix and, I love Luna. So. Sue me.
Jen, what do you say about things we lose?
I absolutely love that you put this up. This is on my list. Because Luna is a fantastic character, and the actress Ivana Lynch, she very much that's how she is, and she's like, it's great because she has such a good like personality and like viewpoint about being in this franchise and being this beloved character. Like if you haven't watched the Harry Potter musicals, she's in the sequel because she's such a fan that she just shows up and does it. So it's great. So she is fantastic. I love her. And this is a great quote, both for the moment, like for the character and for that particular moment, because Harry, like he is at one of his deepest, darkest moments at that time. And it's just one of those lovely little touching things of you never quite know where she is in terms of how she's understanding someone else's mood, but right then it seemed to line up perfectly. And like Harry every once in a while was like, I love later in the next film where he's going to the ball and everything. He's like, I'll bring someone cool. And it's like, yeah, it's Luna, because she is so cool. And like they get along so well. I'm glad that they're friends, because it's like, yeah, she just helps him kind of relax. Because Hermione winds him up and Ron is just like his buddy and will just help him do whatever crazy antics he wants. But Luna helps him kind of chill out. So it's just a nice character moment in a very dark part of the film. So yeah, and it's a great quote. Yeah. Love Luna.
Yeah, this is an easy yes for me. This is another one that I thought I had in my shortlist, but for some reason I either
gets lost in the shuffle. There's so many.
Yeah, it does. But Luna is one of my favorite characters, and most of that is probably because of Evanna Lynch's portrayal alone. But like just the way she says this line is just really incredible. So yeah, it's a yes for me. Kevin, what you said?
Oh hell yes! This one was actually the one I was kind of debating on, and then I was like, I don't know if I want to do this one or I want to go ahead and pitch my Fantastic Beasts one now, because I don't know if it'll come back around to me. So I'm glad you did this one, Chad. Thank you very much.
Nice. You're welcome.
But Jen, we go back to you. What is your next nomination?
Oh God, I just took a glance at the list so far, and so far we have every single quote is a different character. So I'm very proud of us so far, and I want to keep it going. So I'm trying to pick something I just want to talk about and won't actually get picked. Okay. So here we go. So I'm gonna pick. This is more of just whatever. I don't care. It's very different from everything else that's been said, because we're going dark. We're going for Voldemort here, and this is really just one of those moments of like introducing this character that has been talked about throughout the franchise, and then suddenly he's back in action, and Ray finds like he is menacing as hell when he first appears. He is terrifying. That is when the franchise makes a huge switch in tone. But particularly it's because of this delivery of this line in this moment when a full-blown adult cult leader with all his minions behind him are leading up against what is essentially a middle schooler at that time. And he says, "Don't turn your back on me, Harry Potter. I want you to look at me when I kill you. I want to see the light leave your eyes." And I got chills when he said that, because it is a very like close up of Daniel Radcliffe at that moment. And we've been talking about his eyes up until this franchise for a very long time and how they look like his mother. So it's just one more mention of his eyes, and it's very creepy. And I absolutely love the delivery of this line. So yeah, I do not expect it to make the list, but it's one of those delivery over what it, well, actually, it's very scary. Like, it's a very good villain line in terms of I want to kill you against the hero. So yeah, this is just Voldemort being a badass. So I'm excited this was his introduction to the franchise for real. So yeah, Voldemort.
Yeah, this is definitely Voldemort's version of the "I will not be ignored" line. But this is just look, when it comes to Voldemort, this is one that I would say yes to, because it is a really good line, and every franchise needs a good villain line. I think this is definitely one of them. And yeah, it's going to be a yes for me. Kevin, what do you say about "Don't Turn Your Back on Me"?
Say no, keep it going. I'm actively rooting against my own quotes.
I think there might be a better one. I'm gonna say no, just by like a shadow of a hair. But yeah, like this is a great one. But I'm gonna leave it to Chad though.
Thanks.
Chad, what do you say?
Yeah, I mean, it is tough because there is one other one, but it's very similar to another one I've already tried and got no's. But yeah, I don't know. It is a really badass line, like she said. Like it's really crazy. It'd
work in any franchise, honestly. It's cool.
It's one badass thing to say to a motherfucker before you kill him. So I don't know. It's I'll go along with Kevin and just say a slight no. Also because Jen was pleading for us to do that. So Yeah. Let's see what else we got. I guess.
I just want to talk about it.
As well as the cheat.
But yeah,
All
from
right.
my next line, I'm going to try and get a Snape quote on here, and I'm going to Prisoner of Azkaban, and just going to. This is going to be a very simple quote, just because why not? And it's just simply turn to page 394.
Yes! Boom! Everybody's on, baby.
I mean, this may be a really simple quote from Snape, but it's also one of those and a very important quote too, because he wants to get this class to understand why Lupin's missing classes, and I mean wants to try and get him out, and all that, even though he's helping him out as well. But it's just one of those ones that it's just one of those quotes that definitely works. It's definitely a very Snape sort of things. Like, we're going to learn about this thing, which is why your teacher's not here. And yeah. So, Kevin, what do you say about turn to page 394?
Yeah, I love it. It definitely, he says it, I don't know how many times. He said it comes right into Harry, who was it, Harry's face or Ron's face? But anyway, but he really is. He's leading them, into to knowing what Remus's secret is. So I love it, and I love this quote. I had it down, and I'm really glad you said this one, because I have a different one now for the next one. Yes.
Chad, what do you say about turn to page 394?
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely one of the classic ones. This is, I mean, I'm just going to be upfront. I can't say no to a Snape line, because Alan Rickman was like the best of what Harry Potter the movies had to offer. And, it sucks that we lost him so early, because he was just like one of the best actors ever. And my wife loves him so much, and my wife loves this line so much, and so do I. And it's like one that she brought up. I didn't throw it on my list, but then I'm like, you know what? I mean, it is such a simple line. It means something, not like necessarily like much later in the franchise or anything like that. But it doesn't have to be that to be a great quote. People still quote that. They just say that all the time, because it's I don't know, it's so short and memorable. And he just says this simple turn to the page that a teacher would say in any class, but he says it so like menacingly, and just like, just turn to that page. So this line is brilliant. I'm gonna say yes. Snape for the win.
And with that, it does make this list. Jen, what would you have said?
Oh, absolutely, yes. Like this, honestly, when you first just brought up the category of like Harry Potter quotes, the most memorable quote, I would argue, is this. This is something like, this is the meme of Harry Potter, honestly. This is the one that everyone remembers. You will never not, you're not going to forget what page it's on. Like every time anyone says turn the page, like you just automatically think 394. And yeah, it's all because of Alan Rickman. Like, I think he's fantastic across the board in everything that he ever does. However, in terms of this particular franchise, this is the moment I think that it's really just, it's his presence in this scene, because he has that grand entrance of all the kids are talking like they do in class. Everyone's chit-chatting. He comes in and slams every single one of those shutters closed with magic, swings over, pulls down the shade, turn to page 394. And it's very much like, none of this bullshit. Everybody listen. We're all going to buckle down and we're going to learn today. I'm trying to help you out. So yeah, I absolutely love this. Is sassy Snape at his best. I'm glad this made the list. There are so many options you could do for Snape, but this is the one that we would have failed if we made this. So if we didn't make this on the list. So I'm very happy it's here. I was getting a little worried that it wouldn't make it. So I'm very glad it did.
But there we've got one spot left. Kevin, what is the next quote you're going to bring up?
I hope I'm not blowing it here. I have a few more on my list.
Go with your heart, buddy. Go with your heart.
I know. I'm gonna have to go with the one that's like that I think is the most popular, so that I don't get reamed. It's from the Half-Blood Prince. It is Bellatrix Lestrange. I killed Sirius Black. I killed Sirius Black. Like, I mean, it's so known, and it is, it's Helena Bonham Carter just doing her thing, being her annoying self, but that is who she is as Bellatrix. So I think that is her at her best in this movie. So I'll leave it to you guys.
Chad, what do you say about I killed Sirius Black?
Yeah, this one's tough because, like, I mean, I'm on the record saying that I love to throw different characters in here, and yeah, Helena plays Bellatrix she's like so menacing in this franchise and scary as hell. And so much so that, like, when Hermione like has to impersonate her, like she does terrible, and you see Helena do the other trying to be in
very layered
Hermione,
performance. Yeah,
she's just so great in the franchise. But that line, I don't know. I'm conflicted because Kevin made a really great point where he's like, it's so annoying, but that's the point. She's trying to be annoying and like, an asshole, but I hate it because of that too. So I'm so conflicted. I'm like, I hate when she says that because it's annoying and it's mean, and she shouldn't have killed him. That was a very
little bitter
nice
about
thing
it.
to do. But yeah, even though it's great, I'm gonna say no, just because of the the last spot. Maybe something better will come along. I don't know.
Fair.
Jen, what do you say?
Yeah, this hurts, but I am gonna say no. It is tough because this is a very much like if you had to narrow down Bellatrix's character to one line, like it would be this would be a very good encapsulation of what that character is because yeah, she is a murderous bitch and she's very happy about it. But like it's not my particular favorite line for her, but that is the one that does really represent her character. But yeah, like a lot. It's funny because you kind of lose Helena Bonham Carter. She is barely in terms of just ratio of how long she is in this film. It is very, very short, but she makes her mark really quickly. And I would argue that some of her most important parts are just her laugh, I would say, are more impactful than her actual dialogue because it is so crazy menacing and you're like, oh, I am like, you are unhinged and I am worried. So like I would be terrified to be in the same room with her. Like particularly for me, one of the reasons I'll say no is because one of my favorite lines that she does, again, I love insults, when she spits out you filthy half-blood, like the menace and just like venom in that from that delivery is so strong. And yeah, like Helena is fantastic, but unfortunately I'm gonna say no because it's the very last one that we have left. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because everyone else has said no, I'm just going to say yes.
That's what you get to do. That's my
but yeah, I mean, this is one of those, like, when it comes to Bellatrix, like, she's got a lot of good lines, but it's like, but just as Jen said, like, a lot of them are not really that memorable a lot. Like, but her best moments is when she spits out the thing venomously. Like, as I mentioned, when I mentioned the Dobby Crows, like, her just spitting out, "You could have killed me."
Yeah.
It's just, but yeah, Chad, we move over to you. What is your next line you're going to bring up?
Yeah, so I'm gonna follow this whole thing where I try to go to new characters. I'm gonna do the thing where I'm like, well, it is the last spot, but like, hey, maybe this probably won't make it. So I'm gonna throw it out there to give it some love. And it is from Fantastic Beasts. Because I want to spread around the love a little bit, and I'm pretty sure people will probably say no, but hey, why not mention it? And this is one that is very personal to me because when I first heard this line, like I think about this so much on a personal level because I am a big worrier, so I worry about things all the time, and then I think about this Newt quote from Fantastic Beasts that makes me go, yeah, maybe I shouldn't be worrying so damn much. And he says it to Jacob, and he goes, well, my philosophy is that worrying means you suffer twice. And so, that when he says that, I'm like, good ass point. Like, you worry and then you just hurt yourself more. by worrying. So I think about this quote all the time on a personal level. I'm not sure if other people do. Maybe. I hope so, because it's a great line to think about and, very therapeutic. So, yeah, that one.
Jen, what do you say about worrying means you have to suffer twice?
I do like this quote. It's very cute. It's a sweet moment. I totally forgot about it until you just said it. And I was like, oh yeah, that was a nice little line that makes you smile. It's nice. It has a very like Winnie the Pooh feel to it of like, every once in a while there's a gem in there of like, it seems kind of simple and not quite right. And you're like, no, that's very much correct. And it's probably you'd solve a lot of problems if you started thinking that way. But unfortunately, I'm going to say no, just because again, this is the last spot.
Newt is a Paddington. So
he is a very much a Paddington. So yeah.
Easy there.
I mean, Newt would probably try to capture Paddington Bear if he could.
Yeah.
He would find him a home so fast.
But yeah, as much as I do like Fantastic Beasts and I would like to see a quote represented on this list, I'm going to have to say no, just because I've like out of the main Harry Potter movies, I think there's one character that's not represented here, which I think should be. So yeah, Kevin, what would you have said about worrying me don't have to suffer twice?
I actually would have said yes to this one. I like this quote, and I've used it in a couple of my geek questions. So yeah, this is one of my favorites. I think it has a real deep meaning, and I think it's a real good Fantastic Beasts quote. So,
but with that, Jen, we move back to you. What was the next
God.
week?
Okay, so that's most likely the last time I get to bring something up. So where do I want to go with this? But it's rough because there are some characters that I haven't gotten any love yet. But at the same time, I'm gonna put up something that I don't think will make the list, but I love me some Harry Potter. Particularly, I love Daniel Radcliffe. Like some of his delivery, the line is nothing. It's a nothing line, but he will somehow manage to make it memorable. There's so many that I'm like, it just makes me laugh that I like them. But this particular moment, I think it does have a lot of meaning to it, has a lot of weight to it. I think it is one of the best mic drop moments for Harry as a character. It comes from Order of the Phoenix, when Dolores Umbridge starts getting carried off by centaurs and asks Harry to do something, tell him I mean no harm, and Harry suddenly has that epiphany moment that it's one of those, like, whenever you make the comeback later on after you miss the argument and you're like, I want to really come back and sting it. He manages to get it right in the moment and he goes, I'm sorry, Professor, but I must not tell lies. And that is such a mic drop for Harry. It's more of like a Hermione thing. So I'm like, in that moment, I'm so proud of Harry. I'm like, you did it. You said something really smart and witty right at the right moment. And it's very rare for him to do that. So I absolutely love that moment. Daniel Radcliffe definitely sells it in like every aspect. And it's so good because honestly, Umbridge is like one of the true villains of the franchise because she's something that most people will run up against at some point in their life. She's a very real type of villain. So to see her thwarted like that with essentially wordplay is fantastic. So there you go. I must not tell lies.
Which reminds me, I saw a meme going around where because I think Helena Bonham Carter's playing the younger version of Melda Thorne's character in The Crown.
Yes.
Yeah. And apparently in one of the outfits she wears something really similar to Umbridge's, and someone made a meme comparing the two, where Bellatrix's trade cosplays as Professor Umbridge for a Halloween party or something like that. But anyway, this is tough.
It's tough. I know. I could have been really easy and put up something real stupid, but I want.
I mean, it's tough because, like as I said, there's a character that hasn't got any love in it, which I think has a good quote, which needs to be here. But that being said, this is a really great line. I'm just gonna say no because I know I'm coming up next.
I like it. I respect the move. Power move.
But Kevin, what do you say about this line from Harry?
This is such a mic drop line. I totally agree with you. Perfect comeback to a perfect, like, total biatch of a character. Can't stand Umbridge. I did like how we were like keeping it a different character, but I can't. This is a really good quote. Yeah, I'm gonna leave this one to Chad.
Okay.
Oh,
so
you did?
Chad, it's all like
Did Malcolm say yes or no?
He said
I
no.
said no.
So it's
Okay,
down
so
to
I'll
Chad.
I'll say yes.
It
then.
is down to me. All right. Well, you know what? I'm very suspenseful to hear what Malcolm has to say, even though
Mhm.
I didn't think about this one, and this is a great part of the movie because it is a great clapback that not a lot of people love Umbridge, or they love to hate Umbridge.
Yeah.
And you know, this one, when it gets there, you're like, yes. It is a clap moment, and it's brilliant. But yeah, I kind of want to see what Malcolm keeps hinting at.
You better bring something better than that, Malcolm.
Bring the fire.
But yeah, so this is one of the ones because I was looking at all the characters that have headlines there. We've had Harry, we've had Hermione. We haven't had the other third person in this trinity yet, and they have a great line in Chamber of Secrets. Why spiders? Why couldn't it be follow the butterflies? It's like it's just encapsulate everything Ron's about in that lives. Like, you know, he's afraid of spiders. It's just and it's just one of those ones that is just one of those things which definitely shows off his humor in this and sort of shows what he's about and all that. And it's just one of those lines which is really good. It just, once again, it's really simple, but it's one of those ones that is really one that keeps coming up a lot as well in this beer. Kevin, what do you say about why spiders? Why couldn't we follow the butterflies?
I am gonna go yes. Like this quote, I think you're absolutely correct that it encapsulates pretty much everything that Ron is at that point in the film. He was brave in the first film, but he still has this underlying sense of, you know, I'm kind of hesitant to, you know, I still don't like spiders. I still don't like the things that I don't like. My Ron quote probably would have been wicked, but I'm gonna go with what you said.
Chad, what do you say about why can we follow the butterflies?
Yeah, you know, this line's hilarious, and I think only Rupert Grint could have delivered this line the way he does. And you know, yeah, I really think Ron should be on this list. You know, because he's a great character. You know, Rupert Grint seems like a really nice guy, and like, you know, he delivers that line so well. And I just think that it's just one you want to quote all the time. You know, when you think about Chamber of Secrets, you know, he's so scared and then later pissed off because he actually gets attacked by spiders. And it's hilarious. And it's just a hilarious, you know, part of the movie. So, yeah, I definitely have to. Why couldn't it have been butterflies? Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
And Jen, what would you have said about this quote?
Oh yeah, I'm so glad you put this up because I was literally, that was the one I was thinking of putting up a minute ago. So yeah, no, I absolutely love this. Rupert Grint, he is very much Ron. Like, he was locked in immediately. They must have been, as soon as he walked in the room for auditions, so like, okay, this is just walked off the page because that is who he is. With all his Harry Potter money, he went and bought an ice cream truck that he gives out free ice cream to kids. That is such a Ron move. Rupert is so great. I love him. But yeah, like, he honestly, I think Rupert Grint, like, he was so good early on. Early Ron, like Chamber of Secrets Ron, he is my favorite. He has so many that are just like perfect deliveries. One of my favorite lines is just him when they're in the car and they get hit by the thing. He goes, "What's happening?" Like, it's just so good. It's so good. He's so fantastic. But yeah, like this movie, like this quote is fantastic because it is very much like, this is what happens to Ron throughout the franchise of, this is his greatest fear, but he's gonna, like, he's there. He's gonna help out. He's gonna help Harry get there, even though, and he's gonna be a little sassy about it along the way. So yeah, he is the comedic foil to Harry's, like, very emo child, and Hermione is always there to like get the job done. But Ron is there to add a little levity to it. And I do love that in the next movie they have like the callback to it when he's asleep and he suddenly wakes up from a nightmare and he has the spiders. They want me to tap dance. I don't want to tap dance. Like, it's so good. I love that line as well. So I count that as like a dual thing. I think I love that actually a little bit more than this, but it's a callback, so it works. But yeah, it's a fantastic line. I'm glad that we got Ron on this list. It wouldn't feel right without him there. Because yeah, Rupert Grint, super deliveries.
But with that, we have reached the end where we go to ranking these. But Kevin, did you have any honorable mentions?
Oh God.
Yeah, I had several. I'll run through them real quickly. So in Sorcerer's Stone, I had it takes a great deal of bravery to stand up to your enemies, but a great deal more to stand up to your friends. That's a Dumbledore quote. I had Dumbledore also says happiness can be found even in the darkest of times if one only remembers to turn on the light in Prisoner of Azkaban. I liked in Goblet of Fire, he's back, Voldemort is back. I like the passion there. And then there was one in Harry Potter's Deathly Hallows Part 2, let's finish it the way we started together. That was one I liked. So those are my. Oh, and I also like the Arthur Weasley. What is the function of a rubber duck?
Of a duck.
I seriously kept.
Really hits the consonants in that line. It's good.
Yeah, that's great.
I'm not gonna lie. How do I remember to write this on my shortlist? When I watched Chamber of Secrets the other day, I probably would have brought it up early, but I
thought about it. It came real close.
Chad, what is some honorable mentions you have?
Yeah, I mean, I could sit here and quote like Sorcerer's Stone all day because it's the most quotable movie. You know, it's even when he tugs on the lock, it's locked. You know, just stuff like that. That's just hilarious. Is that a real spell? It's not a very good, is it? You're a fool, Harry Potter, and you will lose everything.
Yes.
Another one. Always, obviously.
Yes.
Me, books, and cleverness. There are more important things, friendship and bravery. And Harry, just be careful. And then a really long, serious quote that I won't do the whole thing, but yeah, it's you're not a bad person. You're a very good person who bad things have happened to. And it's now, if you two don't mind, I'm going to bed before either of you come up with another clever idea to get us killed or worse, expelled. You know, she does that. I laugh every time. She's the best in that movie. It does not do to dwell on dreams and forget to live. Such a beautiful place to be with friends. Dobby is happy to be with his friend, Harry Potter. Words are, in my not so humble opinion, our most inexhaustible source of magic, capable of both inflicting injury and remedying it. And that's all I really had written down, but there's so many other good ones. We really need to do maybe a redux of the thing.
Yeah, I was going to say.
You could do singular character ones, and it would be fantastic.
Each film, probably, character. We can break this down differently. I like this.
Jed, what are some honorable mentions?
Oh, God. Well, all of those. But to continue, oh, my God. I mean, we did have a very nice, serious quote. But, you know, you can't go wrong with, I did my waiting, 12 years of it in Azkaban. That is just, it's a fantastic delivery. But yeah, like I said before, like, there's just something about the way Daniel Radcliffe delivers some of these lines, very understated, that they make me laugh so much. Like, particularly like early Harry, Chamber of Secrets, I'll be in my bedroom making no noise and pretending I don't exist. Also, when he's in Dumbledore's office at the end and Fawkes bursts into flames, and he's just, the delivery of, there was nothing I could do. He just caught fire. Like, it is fantastic. It gets me every time. In Goblet of Fire, when he's talking to Rita Skeeter, hey, my eyes aren't glistening with the ghosts of my past. Like, it's so good. Oh my God, there's so many great, hilarious ones that are just all in the delivery. Yeah, like, for some reason, Gilderoy Lockhart, like, I love me some Kenneth Branagh when he just says, freshly caught Cornish pixies. Like, it took me forever to understand what he's actually saying there. Again, Harry Potter, I love him. I just feel so angry all the time. It's such an over-the-top emo thing, but it's very much a teen at that moment. It's very on brand. But yeah, some more serious ones that haven't been mentioned. I am a big fan of Half-Blood Prince, and it's really the entire scene with Slughorn and Hagrid and Harry after Aragorn's funeral, but that entire speech, but the lead into it is
Lily and the Fish.
but that's life, I suppose. You go along and suddenly poof. But yeah, just that whole monologue that he has, it is one of my favorite monologues in the entire franchise. Just the way that he describes it, it's very poetic, and it was wonderful magic. No, it was beautiful magic. Wondrous to behold. I love that so much. I think it's my favorite line in like all of Harry Potter. And yeah, he does not get enough credit. He that is a fantastic scene. I absolutely love it. And it's another great Harry actually doing the work and making things happen on his own, which I always appreciate when he gets to do that. So yeah, that is a personal favorite of mine, but that's not really a quote, is it? It's like a speech. So yeah, it didn't feel right to bring it up, but I absolutely love it.
With like the Amos Diggory, like "It's my boy,"
it's like, my boy.
Oh my God, like that always gets me too. But I'm like, it's not really a quote; it's more like
it's a feeling.
Yeah, that's a feeling. It's
just like the he was their friend.
It was their friend. Yeah.
And for me, like I was sad we couldn't get Lockhart on there, because for me, I probably would I probably would have brought up fame as a fickle friend, Harry, don't lose it. But like another great serious quote we've got. We've all got both light and darkness inside us. What matters is the part we choose to act on. That's who we really are. And another Dumbledore quote that is, it's not our abilities that show what we truly are, it is our choices. And another quote which I'm kind of surprised didn't come up, but it's Kingsley Shacklebolt saying, say what you want about Dumbledore. Say what you want about Dumbledore, Minister. You can't deny he's got style.
I thought about doing the one where he said, I couldn't think of like how exactly it went. But, you thought I was going to come. How was you put
quietly?
it?
Yeah.
Quietly? That's a good one. I couldn't remember exactly how it went.
Yeah. I don't know if the Shacklebolt, I don't know if that actor's ever done anything before, but like every time, he doesn't get a lot of lines, but every time he opens his mouth, like when they have him in Deathly Hallows Part 1, just that scene where his Animagus comes in, well, not Animagus, the Patronus comes in and just says, they are coming. Like, I remember hearing that in the trailer, I was like, ooh, chills. Like, it's fantastic. So. Yeah.
But yeah, now we get to the part where we get to.
Oh God!
I'm not expecting everyone to write the full quote on their whiteboards. We all don't have Ben Bateman-sized whiteboards.
This is really freaking hard.
Yeah, I don't even have my whiteboard. Oh my God!
This is gonna be.
We have to do this.
But
so we're starting at 12, right? We're going backwards.
Yeah, starting at 12.
Oh dear Lord. Let me paste all this over here and try to figure this out.
But I mean, in the meantime, I was actually looking up what the actor that plays Kingsley Shacklebolt was also in. He hasn't done anything since Harry Potter. Definitely how
I mean, you get that Harry Potter money, you're good. You're good to go.
That would set me for life. I'm good.
Yeah.
But one thing I just found out, he was in Flash Gordon. He played Prince Fun in Flash Gordon. He was also Captain Simon Katanga in Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Huh. Cool. Cool.
So for anyone that playing in a kingdom, if that comes up, you now know. Thanks to me.
There you go.
But
you know what? We can make this kind of easy because most of them are different characters. Dumbledore is the only one that's represented twice. So
that is true. But Kevin, what do you have for 12?
I went with the Band of Baboons, McGonagall's quote.
Chad, what do you have?
I did the same thing, but I just did the alliteration.
There you go.
Jen, what do you have for 12?
I did the same thing, but I just wrote McGonagall.
Wow.
Really, it's a 12.
It's going to be 12. I didn't do the same thing. I put Harry's "I'm not going home, not really" line.
Let's see.
but now we move over to 11. Is I'm not doing quotes. They all don't fit into one StreamYard banner.
No, right? That is the only downside of the quote thing.
Chad, what do you have for 11?
I'm just gonna go with the Ron one.
Jen.
I had the Dumbledore, though we speak in different tongues, our hearts beat as one.
I'm still sticking with not going home, Kevin.
And I want Draco's reading. I know you could read.
We've got a 4-way tie. No one's actually in the chat to break this time, so I'm getting my vote.
All right.
So just once I get what ones do we have again?
Yeah, what were the 4 options?
Draco,
Harry, Ron, Draco, and the one Dumbledore quote that was in Goblet of Fire.
Yeah. Okay.
Draco.
I'll switch mine to Ron. I'll switch it to Ron so we can put that
I
down.
was gonna say I would do that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. That's
So Ron.
11 for this.
I
fight.
forgot you could say.
What's happening?
But if that, now we move over to 11, 10 rather.
Oh shit.
That's 12.
Part 2.
That's 11.
That was good.
I think actually all these other ones might be under 200 things. I think the McGonagall one was.
Yeah,
the
that was the
longest.
long one. Yeah. And it's really all about the end. So.
Yeah. But Jen, what do you have for 10?
I'm sticking with Dumbledore quote number 1. Heart speed is 1.
I'm sticking with Harry's not going home, not really.
I also went with that. I'm not going home, not really.
Chad.
And I switched to what Jen said. So we're
Ooh.
Jeez.
I will make an argument of there's a different Dumbledore quote. So
That is true. That is true.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, in that case, do we want to just do 1, 2?
Which
Put those in
What was it?
of like if we lock in like Dumbledore for 10, and then we'll just do going home for 9.
So it's the Dumbledore tongues. So we'll put here.
Oh, right. Okay.
That actually
It's
makes
a-
sense
I mean-
though to do it that way.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it does.
Yeah.
But I'm going to spin the wheel to decide what's going to be
Alright.
10, though.
Which one goes 10?
You're the one that's been riding that quote. So-
Yeah, I was gonna say that's fair.
But funny enough, it is going to go their way down those seats.
All right. Which one do I want for 8 now?
Hmm.
Okay.
We're at 8 now. Okay.
This is hard.
Very.
So for 8, I've got reading. I didn't know you could read from Draco. Kevin.
I was writing the serious quote, the ones that love us never really leave us.
Chad,
Yeah, I'll go with Sirius.
and Jen.
All right. Well, I went with Hermione, but yeah, that's fine. Sirius is fine.
Just to recap what we've got left, got your Wizard Harry left, reading I didn't know you could read, Dobby didn't mean to kill anyone. Of course, it's happening inside your head. Foul evil cockroach. Things have a way of coming back to us. Turn to page 294. Kevin, what do you have for 7?
I said the Hermione Draco quote. You fell loathsome little cockroach. Evil. I forgot evil.
Yeah, well, yeah.
He's evil, don't forget.
I was trying to hurry.
I also went Hermione.
Jen.
You foul, loathsome, evil little cockroach.
I'm sticking with Draco's reading. I didn't know you could read, but
Ah, damn it. All right.
Chad, what do you have for 6?
I wrote Dobby.
Jen.
I also wrote Dobby.
Oh.
I went Draco's reading.
Same.
Oh.
Ah,
That's 6 and 5, but which one is 6?
but which will be which?
Spin them up. Dobby deserves top 5.
Dobby died for you. You should be higher.
And 6 is going to be Dobby, or as I
Dobby.
or
Debbie.
as I missed it. I was hoping no one saw that.
What happened?
I mean, I was going to be saying it too, but it's
Debbie.
also
Dobby.
Oh,
it's also made me realise how many characters we have in this list that start with the letter D.
Yep.
Dibby is a free elf. Okay. All right. Oh,
Getting
wait, so we
serious
just
here.
did Dobby and Draco. Okay. So
Yes.
the top
Yeah.
So
four.
we got Hagrid, you're a wizard, Harry. Dumbledore, of course, it's happening inside your head. Luna's
Mhm.
things we lose have a way of coming back. And turn to page 394.
Oh, it's a solid top 4.
yeah, it really is.
Can't go wrong.
I like where we went. I really wish I could have done like a top 25. Shit, I almost showed my answer, but
Saw it.
I'm changing.
Jen, what do you have for 4?
I went from a girl, Luna.
As much as it pains me to do this, I put your wizard Harry. Kevin.
I went for the Dumbledore. It's happening in your head.
And
Chad.
same Dumbledore.
There you go.
Attaboy, Chadwick.
All right. Hagrid, Luna, and Snape.
Snape.
That is a really
What's-
good topic.
3. All right.
Jen, what do you have for number 3?
Sticking with Luna.
Sticking with your wizard Harry. Kevin.
I went with Luna. Things we lose.
Chad.
Luna. Yep.
Yep.
It's a great number 3.
She made
And
it all the
number
way to
1.
third.
That's great. I like that she made it to third. That's awesome.
I mean, I also I love her line of "Oh, you're not crazy. I see them too."
And now instead of going for the number 2, we're going straight to number 1.
All right, so we're writing down the number 1.
And you're not wrong with either of these.
I know.
Yeah.
We did well.
Kevin, what do you have for number 1?
You're a wizard, Harry.
Chad.
You're a wizard, Harry.
Chad.
I'm the only Alan Rickman fan here. Snape all the way.
I think Malcolm went
You're
up
actually not.
too.
Turn to page 1.
Wheel of fate. Wheel of fate.
The wheel spin?
All right, Alan Rickman is gonna come and he's gonna fix it. He's gonna put himself in number 1.
He's gonna spin the wheel himself. Either one, I would be totally happy with either one of these.
Same, yes.
Yeah, I almost wrote just so I could say
Same.
Turn to page 300.
This wheel is going to decide what is number 2.
Go.
Just,
So this is number 2.
yeah.
Oh.
Yes.
Nice.
I'm gonna count this as a dual win for turn to page 394 and always. I think the only reason that didn't get brought up is because it's only one word. So it's hard to call it a line with one word.
Yes, that's the only reason I didn't bring it up
Yeah.
earlier, because I was like, one word, I feel like people are
Is
going to
it
be
a line?
yeah, that's more like just
It's an exclamation. It's a feeling.
I'm not gonna lie. I was considering bringing that up instead of turn to page 94.
If it had come back around, I probably would have thrown it out there.
I should have said
I mean,
that one
Chad
instead,
tried to
but-
throw it out there early on. It's like laying the foundation for it. So I was like, oh, it'll come back. But then
But with that, our top 12 quotes from the Wizarding World franchise is at number 12. We've got this long one from McGonagall.
babbling, bubbling, band of baboons.
At 11, we've got Wise Flies Welcome Be Followed Butterflies.
Follow the butterflies.
At 10, we've got Though We May Come from Different Countries, Speak in Different Tongues, Their Hearts Beat as One.
One world.
At number 9, I'm Not Going Home,
That's an
Not
exclusive,
Really,
I
from
think.
Harry.
Hmm.
At 8, we got The Ones That Love Us Never Really Leave Us. At 7, we got Felt Evil Little Cockroach. And actually,
You should add like a thwack noise after that.
You foul, loathsome, evil little cockroach!
Yes.
Punch.
I mean, I've got the clip, might as well use it.
Might as well.
At 6, Dobby didn't mean to kill anyone. Dobby only meant to maim or seriously injure. I'm not gonna lie. I tried to find that clip, but I couldn't. Reading, I didn't know you could read. Is 5. 4, of course, is happening inside your head, Harry. But why should that mean it's not real? At 3, we've got the things we lose have a way of coming back to us in the end.
Oh,
nice.
Not always in the way we expect.
so sweet.
At 2 is You're a Wizard, Harry, and number 1 is Turn to Page 394.
Yes.
But with that, it does bring us to the end of the episode. I'll have a poll up in the Take 3 page with the options for next week. But Kevin, where can people find you online?
You can find me on TMG Trivia. I am the commissioner of TM Geek. We're currently on a little bit of a break. We just had our TM Geek Championship match between Joe Farrelly and Antonio Chavez. So that will be dropping soon. So keep your eyes out for that. This was really the most fun Rankum I think I've ever been a part of. So thank you, Malcolm, for this. And thank you, Jen and Chad, for being a part of this.
Chad, where can people find you online?
Absolutely. Thank you, Kevin, for bringing this topic up, because this was so fun. I loved hanging out with you, Jen, Malcolm, doing Harry Potter stuff. It's always great. But yeah, the main thing I do is on the Dill Pickle Movie Network, my buddy Dylan Randazzo runs this channel. He has a lot of great content over there, but we run a show called Picture This, the one and only great Picture This show out there. That's where every month we do a year of the Oscars, but we talk specifically about the Best Picture award, and we go through all of the nominees of that year, including the winner. We talk about all the movies, we rank them. If you watch this, you probably love ranking, and we basically we talk about actors and actors from the year, the ceremony itself, just a lot of great stuff. The year itself too, a lot of great stuff over there. We have a great time. This month we are doing 1998 because it is the birth year of my co-host Dylan Randazzo. And before that, last month we did 2021 because it was the Oscars. And so we have a great time doing that. I'm all over trivia. I do TMG. I do like all the leagues, whatever. I do a lot of movie battleground. I love debating people. It's really fun over there. I do like my own channel thing, Chadwick Webb, where I rank stuff. I'm going to drop probably on Monday a Harry Potter ranking that we did forever ago. But I was like, why not wait until the third Fantastic Beast comes out? We got Edgar Wright, we got Christmas films, we did a bunch of things, and we're probably going to do a Denis Villeneuve soon. And I have a great time doing all these things. And thank you very much, Malcolm. This was fun.
Jaden, where can people find you online?
You can find me, Jen Kemp, at JK Mean Queen on Twitter and Letterboxd, even though I haven't updated my Letterboxd in a really long time. Is it lazy, or is it because I don't want people to know what I'm watching for Schmodown purposes? Because you can find me in the Schmodown. I was in the very first episode of Friday Night Titans. If you're not watching, you never know what's going to happen. You never know who's going to show up Friday night. It's a whole event. If you like wrestling, if you like characters, if you like trivia, go check it out. It's a super awesome project that I can't believe that I'm a part of it. It's so much fun. So yeah, so you can find me there. You can find me on Twitter, just being a movie weirdo, nerd kind of person. I love doing all these kinds of shows. I was very happy to be a part of this. This was a lot of fun. I absolutely adore Harry Potter as a franchise, and this made me want to go and watch the movies again, which I haven't done in a while. So they're all on HBO Max. If you haven't watched the reunion, oh my God, what are you doing? It's so cute. It's so adorable. Go watch the reunion on HBO Max. It's so cute. But yeah, I love being here. This was real fun. Thanks for having me. And yeah, I'm just around. Like, I'm pretty easy to just get on shows because I don't care. I got nothing going on.
And I actually have Jen in a fantasy league, so keep on winning, Jen.
There you go. You're welcome for the point.
And you can find me on Take Few Productions, where I host Rankum every week. As I said, the poll will be up in a bit with the options for next week. Spoiler alert: there is a Harry Potter one on that one as well, because but you can also find me on Formula Trivia, host Formula Random each week. This week we have got matches on the Matrix franchise, the Mighty Ducks, and this TV series Psych. And
very popular franchises.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, but until next time, see you there, and keep listening shit.